focus. Focus on me. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Unless this is your first time here, then welcome to my channel in general. So this won't take too long to explain, but I wanted to make a Q&A video because I recently hit 7K. Ooh. And also I have a lot of time in my hands and I have this really nice camera only for the next few days. So I want to do something with it. And, you know, we're all stuck at home, we're all running out of things to watch, and I figured, hey, you know, if I make this video, that is one more thing for you guys to watch. So, there we go. Okay, let's get this started. Cue the Animal Crossing music. Now, all these questions were submitted through my story on Instagram, so when I say these usernames, just assume that they are Instagram usernames. Also, if more than one person asked a similar question, then I'll just be combining the questions. So, to begin, Becca.jpeg asked, how did balancing college and cosplay challenge you as a creator? This is a good time to practice my interview skills because I did not look at any of these questions before I actually started this video. So balancing college and cosplay was definitely an interesting time for me because and I go over this in my college and cosplay panel promo. Coming into college my freshman year, it was definitely something I was worried about, having to balance the two. The whole reason I made my college and cosplayers panel is because that there's so many people online talking about how like I have to go on a hiatus because of college or because of school, because I have to do all this work because blah blah blah. And everyone talks about taking breaks for their education, but no one ever talked about how to actually manage the two of them. So I would go on social media and I'd get really bummed because I would see people who would make all this progress on cosplay and they'd have new content. And at the time I didn't have any content. I would just take a bunch of selfies at home, which, you know, that's a good thing that a lot of people do. But for me, it was just being the same photos over and over again. I was posting twice a day. And again, the same stuff over and over again. So it wasn't really like enticing to any sort of like viewers. And so I guess to put my college and cosplayers panel into a summary, but really you guys should go watch it. Don't be afraid to talk about cosplay at school. It's a great way to meet fellow fans, like fans of cosplay and fans of anime and nerdy stuff. Check out local conventions to see if there's any near your school, if you're somewhere far from home. Load up on content during your breaks. Change your posting schedule to subside with the amount of content that you actually have available. And that's all I can think of at the top of my head. But yeah, definitely, again, just go watch the panel. There's a bunch of information in there for you. Katori Size asked, cosplay I'll never do again. And Ethan J. Kane asked, did you expect all the fame that came from the Paw Patrol cosplay? What a great opportunity to kill two birds with one stone. So for those who somehow don't know, a little over a year ago, I was out with some friends and we were having a good time, and it was around Halloween, so the Halloween stores were just opened and there was a whole section for Paw Patrol, and we suddenly got the idea, let's do a Paw Patrol cosplay group. And yeah, would it be fun to do with friends? Yes, I definitely think so, especially with that group of people. I love all of them. But the thing is, when I posted that online, like, yeah, a bunch of people got laughs out of it and it was good. I mean, it's like, it's a joke cosplay. It's not real. I wouldn't really consider it a serious cosplay. It's a dog from a children's cartoon. I never even watched. Okay, I have watched, obviously, because I watch Nick at Night and then I wake up and then it's on the TV and I don't know what you want from me. But anyway, it's from a children's show that I'm not into like I am with, I don't know, My Hero Academia. And then for several months, that is all people talked about on my page. And it was exhausting. Why was it so exhausting when I'm the one who cosplayed it in the first place? Well, that'll be because I would ask people things like, hey, what's my favorite cosplay of yours? Or, oh, hey, what's a cosplay I should bring back? And they kept bringing up Chase from Paw Patrol, a random cosplay I tried in my room here at college. And not anything like, oh, I don't know, all like, oh, maybe even like Bakugo or like you know, a cosplay I worked really hard on, or just literally anything else, just anything I put actual effort into. No, let's go with the dog cost and that was a thing that people just kept every single time I had a little question box in my story. People were just like, bring Chase back. That went on for several months. And while people are perfectly allowed to do joke cosplays, I personally was not a fan of the attention it was bringing to me. And so I think in the future I will stray far away from any sort of that stuff because I don't really want that kind of attention. Okay, let's move on to a wholesome question. Michaela.km asks, what inspires you to cosplay? Any goals you have that you would want to achieve? So what inspired me to cosplay? The clout. I'm serious. Okay, so listen, fun story. The first time that I ever cosplayed was Wizard World Chicago 2013, and I did Femme Hawkeye, and I was with my friends who was Femme Captain America and Femme Thor. It was a great time, fun time. And we got our picture taken over 100 times, and I had never experienced anything like that before. And I loved the feeling of being recognized. As someone who's always kind of felt like I faded into the background growing up, I mean, like, I've always been like a successful athlete, but I feel like even then, like, I was hardly ever recognized as a serious athlete. It's like definitely gotten better like in college, but like personally, like, there shouldn't have been a time where like I was going through school and then I'd like get all these like conference sectional state awards and be like, do people know I do track though? I don't think they know. But yeah, and my voice is like, I don't mumble, but like every time I speak, it like there's been so many times where people just don't register that I'm saying something. Or like even the other day, sometimes when I'm about to round a corner and I can tell someone else is about to round a corner, I purposely make myself louder so that I won't frighten them when they come around the corner, because I am tall, and when you are suddenly approached by a tall thing you weren't expecting because you didn't hear them for some reason, then you get frightened. I was at Walgreens the other day. I purposely coughed because I could tell some guy was about to come out of the aisle while I was walking past it, and I coughed before he came out of the aisle so he would hear me. This man screams and gets like 4 other people to turn and see us, and I just go, I'm sorry, it happens so often. And then there was this lady at the cashier, and she was the same lady who was like working behind the photo desk and just didn't see me standing there until she like went to leave the photo desk and is like, how long have you been standing there? And I'm like, oh, a while, it's fine, it happens. So then at this point, this lady's gotta be all like, oh my god, like, is this girl a ghost? Like, what? This is the second time in the same like 10 minutes, and like people just aren't seeing this girl. So anyways, back to cosplay. I did really like the attention that I was getting at Wizard World. I felt recognized. I felt like people were acknowledging the work that my mom and I had put into my cosplay. And it's something I wanted to continue doing. And as the years pass, that has changed a little bit. It's mostly changed into I want to be able to inspire people. And I don't think you need to be someone like a doctor or a firefighter to change someone's life. I think you just need to be someone who is there and you make someone feel better about themselves, or you motivate people, or like I said, you inspire people. So to answer your second question, any goals that I have that I want to achieve, I really want to inspire people. And as terms to like more physical goals, I guess I want to attend a convention on the coast, any coast. I just want to get a taste of a convention atmosphere that is in the Midwest, even though obviously I love my friends here, but you know, it's cool to check out something new. I want to challenge myself more with how I make my cosplays. I want to become better at sewing and prop making and wig styling and literally everything. I just want to be better, which is healthy. You should always want to improve, but don't make it unhealthy to the point where you never think you're good enough. It's more like it's not that you're not good enough, it's more that you have more to give and you can sharpen your skills and you can be better than you were. And, you know, it's more like self-care and growth, you know? Yeah. Kaminari Cos asks, any tips for cosplaying on a tight budget? So with that, I am a big thrifty cosplayer. I go to Goodwill a lot to get bases to make cosplays because I'm not confident enough yet to make entire pieces from scratch or from patterns. So Goodwill has been a big savior for me. I cannot tell you how many times I have like gone onto a cosplay website and then they'll be selling like, oh, Shigaraki cosplay, and it like won't be the hands on his face. It'll just be like, which I don't know if you ever looked at his design before. It's literally like a black shirt, black pants, and shoes, and like just I think it's like Converse shoes, but like. And they'll be selling that for like $50. I don't know if you know this, but Goodwill, a shirt is like $5 or something like that. And then pants also maybe like $5. And then you could probably find some red Converse there, or just any Converse there in general, and just like paint them very neatly to look like his shoes, or just, listen, just before you buy like a $90 cosplay, do some planning. Figure out if it's something that you can make, and if it's something that you can make with your skill and with your budget. Because a lot of the times, the reason I choose to make things over buy them is, one, making them gives me like a sense of accomplishment, you know, like, oh, I did this. But it also is a lot of the times cheaper, you know, so you just gotta ask yourself, you gotta figure out what's best for you. So I'm gonna connect the last question to this question from Love Good Cosplay, who asked, what is the best place to buy wigs? Amazon gets so much trash for their wig selection, and I don't know why. Now, maybe it's because I am not an expert wig crafter, and I don't really know the difference between an Arto wig and an epic cosplay wig, and I just don't know, okay? I don't know. However, although I do love cosplay, I am not about to pay $70 to wear plastic on my head. It's not gonna happen. I'm sorry. I could make like 2 cosplays with that budget, because as I said before, Goodwill is very cheap. I could make 2 cosplays with like $70 sometimes. I'm not gonna pay $70 for a wig. That's ridiculous. Now, if you're paying for the wig and you send it to someone because you're commissioning it and they style it and it's great, and that's a whole different story, because you're paying for like, it's different. You should pay your commissioners. They work very hard. I'm not saying that people who make wigs don't work hard, but listen. Amazon does have good wigs. I hate to be the one to break this news to you, but they do. I will admit, not all the wigs I've gotten from Amazon are the best quality. Of course not. They're not professional wig sellers for the most part. However, what Amazon does have is reviews. And if you look at the reviews, most of the time people will tell you if it's a good wig or a bad wig. Or maybe they're inexperienced, they don't know anything about wigs, and they will still include an image of the wig and be like, oh, it's a little shiny, oh, it's a little thin. And that way, you know not to buy that wig. Or maybe you're like, oh, I don't really care, I just need it for WEFs. Then you buy that wig. It doesn't really matter. It does matter. And I just, you know, sometimes I just forget how to talk, and hey. But besides Amazon, I have to give a shout out to Sasha Hair on Instagram, because her customer service is very nice, and all the wigs I've gotten from her have been very nice, and sometimes she even has these really good deals on wigs. There have been times she sells lace front wigs for $10, and they're excellent quality, and I think more people should check her out. So yeah, go do that. She's great. I trust her. I trust her. Back to Miss Katori Thighs. Cosplay Pet Peeves. I think this is less of a cosplay pet peeve and more of like an internet pet peeve, but here we go. So I cannot stand it when people take a random fan base. Let's just use My Hero Academia as an example. You know, let's just throw it out there. Let's say the My Hero Academia fan base, just for giggles. They take them, and people like to assume that anyone who is a fan of this show is immature and does not know how to behave in public, and is automatically deemed cringy, which is really interesting because the reason that people like My Hero Academia, or just any popular thing in general, it's weird. The reason that people like popular things is because to some degree, it's good, you know? Or like, at least to them. But like, My Hero Academia especially, it is such a large like fan base, and like it's such a large amount of people who watch it. Do you know why? It's because it's good. And I just don't think people understand that, you know? And so there have been times where I'm wearing a My Hero Academia cosplay at a convention, and I just feel like people are kind of looking at me differently because I'm immediately someone they shouldn't approach. You ever get that? I mean, we're in some trying times right now. Have you ever been in public recently and then like there's someone who isn't wearing a face mask, and then like everyone at the store is just like side-eyeing them and like pulling their children away? You know, it's been something like that, but at conventions and as a My Hero Academia cosplayer. Just like people generally not wanting to be around you just because you're cosplaying from a certain thing. Doesn't even matter how good you look, might I add. It's just a stigma. And you know what? Not a fan of it, personally. Same thing happened with Voltron. Nope, not a fan. So I guess my cosplay pet peeve is when people make assumptions about your entire character just because you like a show that they deem is not good because of how the public has viewed it. And by the public, I just mean the internet and mean people. Okay, let's move on to a question where I don't feel like I'm ranting. Sukiness asks, what are your favorite apps for editing your cosplay pictures? Okay, so my favorite apps for editing cosplay photos are definitely Beauty Cam and Beauty Plus. Don't look at me like that. I know what you're thinking. You're like, Allison, you went to school for graphic design. How can you possibly think Beauty Cam is good? It is because I went to school for graphic design that I love Beauty Cam so much, because it does so much without the effort of having to open an Adobe program on my computer and get out of bed, might I add, and just do things. And if you're a cosplayer, you've probably heard of Beauty Cam already, but anyways, Beauty Cam, it does a lot of good things, like gives you some nice little contour on your face, it can brighten your eyes, it can whiten your teeth, you know, it does everything that the society we live in deems as beautiful. But yeah, and it does it really easily, and as long as you don't overdo the editing, I think that it can just pass really easily. But I do like using the Photoshop app on my phone. It is good for, you know, just normal adjustments like color and stuff like that. There's also PhotoFox, which is kind of like the normal Photoshop that you use on a computer, because the Photoshop on the phone, at least the free version, do I have the free? I don't know. The Photoshop on the phone, it does not allow you to play with different layers, at least not that I've seen, and PhotoFox does. It's how I've done things like that one Umi photo with like different splashes and stuff. It's how I've done dual color effects, all from my phone and not having to pull out my computer. So I really enjoyed that. So Beauty Cam, Beauty Plus, Photoshop Express, and PhotoFox. Elfboy88 asks, when you plan a cosplay, do you storyboard it out or kind of wing it? So planning out a cosplay is one of my favorite parts of actually doing the cosplay, because I actually get to design my own thing, especially with femme character designs, which is, you know, I do a lot. I get to figure out my own concept, and I have to ask myself, what do I feel comfortable wearing? What I look best in? What would this character actually wear? So if we look at someone like Bakugo, who I use for examples a lot, with that design, I wanted to show more skin because Bakugo is a very showboaty guy, and you know, when he has like muscles, like he'd definitely be someone who'd want to show him off because that's just who he is. So with my version, I did want to have more skin exposed to show like that my character is confident. Not that confident people always show more skin, but you know, like, when anything I say here, just immediately assume like that's just my personal preference and that doesn't have to be yours because that's just the truth. But yes, Bakugo would definitely be that guy who's on a sports team and needs to take his shirt off for every single workout because, you know, he's just like, I have abs and also I'm strong and cool and I need to show it off. Ha 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 ha. I thought about giving my Bakugo design longer hair, but in the end I just didn't really see that design or her as having like really long hair that would kind of like get in the way of her explosions. Again, it's just my thought, doesn't mean that has to apply to anyone else's design. And then if we look at something like my Kirishima cosplay, again, I could have just like, you know, worn a top like I did for Bakugo and had my arms exposed. But also Kirishima, he recently got the sleeves so he could better rescue people and these people wouldn't be hurt at all by his sharp arms when he's using his hardening. So I wanted to add that into my cosplay. Also, when I'm designing a cosplay, I really don't like to leave out anything. A good example I could use of this is again Kirishima. He's got those little pieces that go, it goes like up and then around his hand. And I made sure to include that because that's something that he has. Adora also has something really similar to that. She has a piece that points up right here. It doesn't loop around her finger, so that's why I used an invisible strap to kind of like loop it around my finger instead, and then I just have the piece pointing right here. While my femme designs are never really canon because obviously a majority of shows don't really have female versions of their characters, I still like to maintain aspects of the character as much as possible. So this would mean like things going through my head that like, oh, even though this is a female version of Bakugo, that doesn't mean she wouldn't still have the grenades on her hips and stuff like that. Actually, on the back of my to-do checklist for finals, I just got like head empty Hawks one day and I was just like immediately just turned it over and just started drawing out my Hawks design. And to work you guys through this a little bit, you know, you got to think of things that like, oh, would Hawks of this, would this be practical and stuff like that. And again, like all femme designs are valid. This is just how I approach my thought process. So let's talk about something like pigtails. Would I ever give femme Hawks pigtails? Personally, no, because I see pigtails as a sign of, you know, this character's really pure. They are very like girly, you know, they're very like ooh soft girl, and you know, like if you have pigtails, you automatically get kind of like a ooh baby effect. You know, I don't really make the rules here. So I decided to give my femme Hawks like more of a short haircut around here. It's still kind of like wavy, so it's wild, and it's kind of like a messy bun look. For the top, I am planning on doing like because I wanted to do something like I did with Femme Bakugo and just have like the abs out, but I still wanted to maintain that turtleneck, so I decided to do a crop turtleneck. We're gonna see how that looks. If anything, I could always change it, but that's the plan. And I thought about doing shorts, but in the end I thought like Hawks to me is a very adult character. He is on the younger side. We're actually almost the same age. But for me personally, like Hawks cosplay is a chance for me to kind of like grow into more adult characters. I have been cosplaying a lot of 15-year-olds lately, and at one point you just want to do a character that you could feel like you actually resonate with. So I want to do someone that's a little more mature, a little more adult. And so for Hawks, I kind of wanted to stray away from doing things like pigtails. Again, not that there's a problem with that. I want to say that like 50 million times. Oh my god. But for Hawks, I wanted to keep the long pants look instead of shorts, which I might usually go with, but this time around I want to not do it. But in the end, if I still feel like I can do shorts and still kind of give the same effect that I wanted, I might just go with that, because, you know, like, I gotta see, like, if I want to wear this in, like, summer months, you know, that might be an obstacle. But with the pants, I did go with, like, a more skin-tight pant instead of the baggy pants that Hawks actually wears. Shadow Dancer 03 asks, I got exams due by tomorrow and Wednesday, and I don't care, but I don't know why. Advice? Well, you might not care because you're honestly just very done with everything. We're all just very done with everything. It's been really hard to find motivation, but my advice to do it, a long time ago, I came up with this way to motivate myself. I have 2 things that I tell myself. 1, but you gotta. Now what this means is that literally you have to do it. You're gonna do it eventually. Just do it. Nike was right. Just do it. But you gotta means like, oh, I don't wanna do this exam, but you gotta. So I guess I will. You know, it's literally just like that. It's like, why am I gonna do this? Well, because I have to, and that's why. You know, and a lot of times that's just all I need. It's like, well, I have to do this anyways, might as well do it. Another thing I tell myself, and I usually use this for workouts, but it could still work for pretty much anything. So maybe we got like 10 hills to run for this workout, and I'm at hill number 8, and I'm like really tired, right? Although I tell myself, I'm like, okay, well, if someone was gonna pay me $1 million to run 2 more hills, could I do it? Obviously the answer is yes, so there's no reason I don't have the physical capability to do it right now. And so basically that's just reminding me that like, oh, I have the skills to do this, so might as well do it. Nothing's stopping me. Only I am stopping me. Nikon3 Cos asks, any tips on how to get more people to see your content? If you find out, you let me know. No, but honestly, what I found that works is to introduce new stuff to your page every now and then. Because I think if you use the same tags over and over again, like you're not really gonna reach anyone new. Also, make sure you're using well-lit photos. I find that dark photos, even though I love the aesthetic of them, they don't always do that nice, because I think the thing is Instagram just reads it as that like this is not a high quality photo, and it can't even be really like read by that many people because it's so dark, like you might not even understand if there's a figure in there, even though obviously like you can see the photo. But Instagram might read it as like, oh, this isn't something people need to see. If you ever see any of your mutuals doing shoutouts, don't be afraid to join. I tend to join most shoutouts that I see my friends doing just because, you never know. Well, 1, I love talking about my friends. And 2, you never know what new person has been viewing their story, and that new person might just be a new follower to come to your page. All right, Pyre Wall. Sorry if I butchered your username. I'm gonna be saying it a few times here. How would you organize a room dedicated to creating cosplays? So my current cosplay workspace is in the basement at my normal house, and it's got a pretty good layout. It's got like a rack with all my cosplays. It's got, a kind of like paint station where all the paints are. It's got a TV that's visible. It's got couches for lounging and stuff like that. But the thing is, it's in the basement, and the lighting is kind of awful, and it can be kind of gloomy and kind of hard to work in. So my dream cosplay space, it would be somewhere with at least a window or 2, less spiders. I'd still want a floor that doesn't have carpet on it, because you don't want to get thread and needles lost in the carpet. And I would definitely dedicate a wall in the cosplay room for just all the cosplay prints that I have collected from people over the years, because right now they're in my room, and while I don't really mind them being there, I think having them in a cosplay space would be a lot better. Love Good Cosplay asks, I met any celebrities while in cosplay? Just a few. So the first time Savannah and I went to Dye Show, we originally planned to go because Shiro's voice actor Josh Keaton was gonna be there, but sadly he had to cancel, although Jeremy Shada was there, and he kind of got announced after Josh Keaton was canceled, so it's like, okay, we will still go because Jeremy's great. So we got to meet him, and we got to be there for the concert of his band, and we are now fans of his band. They're really good. Make Out Monday, definitely suggest you guys check them out. And yeah, meeting Lance in Lance was pretty nice. And then last Dye Show, we met the big 3, so Mirio, Nejure's, and Amajigi's voice actors. They were really nice. Also one ASEN, we met J. Michael Tatum. He was also great. He's Ida's voice actor, as you know, best boy. I have this iconic photo where I am sitting at his table. I don't know where he is, but no one else was around, so I'm just like, I'm Ida, I'm gonna sit at his table. I don't even remember if I got his autograph while I was in Ida, or if I came back later, but I got his autograph, so yeah. Firewall asks, you have to kick one of the 3 houses out of Fire Emblem 3 houses. Which one and why? Black Eagles. Edelgard wants to hurt Dimitri. I can't have that. Hey Marikos asks, shoes and boots, what do you look for when getting them? Do you paint? Use boot covers? Question mark. So I've definitely tried to stray away from painting boots because they do just become a crackly mess in the end, and it's not something I want. And every month of every year, I tell myself I'm gonna learn how to make boot covers. And have I properly learned how to do that yet? Not really. Adoras, they're not pretty. They photograph well though, so I got that going for me. But Mirio wears over-the-knee white boots, and I don't know if you know this, but they don't sell those at Kohl's. So yes, I'm trying to learn how to make boot covers, and I just feel like a broken record. How many times I tell people that I'm trying to learn how to make boot covers, and I've yet to actually properly do it so many times. What I look for when I'm getting shoes and boots, I definitely wear them around a little bit. I see if I'm gonna be comfortable in them, if they're gonna give me blisters, because you know, a convention, you're gonna be on your feet all day, and you need to make sure that these things are gonna last. Also, related note, shoes are like my favorite thing about a cosplay. Personally, I don't understand how people just don't give their cosplays the same shoes as the characters. They will do like everything else, but they will not give their characters the same shoes that the character is wearing. But it's like the best part of the costume because it just completes everything, you know? Like, Nana without her white boots, who would she be? I don't even know, because like she already wears so much black, and like the white boots just connect with the white cape perfectly. Oh god, yes. And Adora with her red boots and her red jacket, oh my god, like wow, incredible. Firewall asks, what essential things does an absolute beginner need to know about getting into cosplay? So I'd say a really important thing to know is that there are different levels to approaching cosplay. And I think we forget that pretty often. There's people who care about, you know, how many likes they get, how many photos that they get taken of their cosplay, if they have enough content to post, if they're making new cosplays all the time. And then there's people who just like, hey, maybe I'll go to a convention this year and just like decide to cosplay. And they don't make it a big thing that they're doing all the time. And there's just different levels of how much you care about this thing, because in the end, it is a hobby. It feels weird to call it a hobby for some people because you're like, hobby just seems like such like a relaxed term for something that you might like pour all your time into. But in the end, like, that's what it is. The only time it's a job or a profession is when you're making enough money to actually support yourself. And although some cosplayers are doing that, it's a very small percentage that actually is. And it's okay to have that dream that you want to get to that level. Like, that's part of my dream, is to like make cosplay a career, but it's also not something I'm planning to fall back on in the end, like, because I need to be able to do other things. So I guess what I'm trying to say here is like, don't be afraid to just be at whatever level you want to be. If you want to like go to a convention once and then just only like cosplay photos like from Instagram for the next like 3 years, that's like totally fine. In order to get into cosplay, you don't need to dive in head first. You could just be someone who enjoys it every now and then or whatever. But the thing about like social media, it definitely easily turns things into a competition, and Americans thrive on competition. I don't know if you've noticed. But yeah, basically just go at your own pace, learn at your own pace. There's no rush. You don't need to become the best whatever in a year. It's wild. Just do what you want to do and have fun with it. Have fun. If you're not having fun, then there's a problem. The biggest mistake a beginner can make is to see their favorite creators and just hold them on like to such a high standard and think either I need to be that good right now or else I'm never good enough, or just see them and think I will never be that good. What's the point of even trying? No, it doesn't work like that. Your creators don't want you to think like that. No. Sailor Chiaki asks, how long does prop building usually take? That's kind of a difficult question because there have been times where If you look at Bakugo's gauntlets, those took like weeks to make. But if you look at something like Adora's bracer, I made that the night before a con just because I had time to, and I'm like, oh, might as well, why not? But yes, the size of the prop usually matters. Also how much detail work it needs and stuff like that. Kirishima's gears, they definitely took a little bit because I wanted to add my little flair to them instead of making them like a flat red color. Firewall asks, how do you secure a pauldron to your lower shoulder / arm? This? Right here? This part? I am not a prop expert. I am just a person trying their best. However, I am planning on doing something similar with my Miro design, and my plan is to, so I'm just gonna tell you what I'm gonna do, and maybe that'll help you. So I'm gonna have the base shirt right here, right? I was gonna have a snap, which is the same thing that I used for Nana's cape, right here to keep it in place. I was gonna have a snap sewed on here and then glued on to the armor bit, and I was just gonna connect it like that so that way I can take it on and off the shirt, and hopefully it won't make me immobile. But yeah, I also can't entirely remember what a pauldron is. It's just like a shoulder thing, right? It's like, yeah, I know things. Cosplay Stuffs asks, general advice for beginning sewers. So like I said before, try not to compare everything that you do to someone who's been sewing for a really long time, because that is the quickest way to make yourself really sad. Take your time, don't rush it. I know if you floor the pedal on the machine, it sews faster and you're done faster, but trust me when I say that doesn't necessarily make it a good thing. Look up a bunch of tutorials online. Some of them are hard to understand, some of them are easier to understand. Just look around until you find what works for you. Don't let it be too intimidating. You literally can never get better at anything if you don't actually do it repetitively and you practice and you actually teach yourself. And like I said before, a lot of my cosplays are made from getting bases from Goodwill. And I feel like that's helped me a lot because I don't know exactly how to make entire things from scratch, but I do know how to alter things. Adora is an altered rain jacket, and that looks like Adora's coat now, so that's what we got going for us. Pyrol asks, what was your most ambitious cosplay project to date? Why was it difficult? Let me tell you about the summer of 2017. God, have I really been cosplaying Bakugo for 3 years? Oh, I'm old. I was terrified to make Bakugo's cosplay. Like, it made me nauseous just thinking about it. Because there's so many tiny little details that you don't think are on his costume. Because, like, none of, like, the My Hero outfits are really, you know, like, that complicated. It's not like they got tiny little, like, embroidering on them or whatever. But, like, when you actually sit down and you pick apart everything that is in Bakugo's costume, it is stupid. Okay, let me see if I got this memorized. Yep. Okay, you got the boots. Beautiful, by the way. Favorite part of the project. Part of the reason I actually finished the thing because I wanted to wear those boots. So you got the boots, which got little ridges at the bottom, and they got like some orange around it, you know, and then they got the little flappy on the side, you know, you can't not have that. And then you got the pants, but in my case, shorts, and then you gotta give it like the little belt buckle strap thing so you could actually put the belt through. And then you gotta make the belt a different color. And then he's got these little like, what's it called? It's not like, it's like suspenders for your legs, you know, the garter, is that what it's called? The little straps that go down and they wrap around the thighs, and you got to put little pockets on them because, you know, we can't not have his pockets. And like I said before, I don't like to keep details on my cosplay, so I gotta have the pockets. And then there is there's little grenade things on the sides, and you know, you can't not have those, so you gotta put those in there. And moving up to the top, you gotta have the top, and you gotta have the orange X, and you got the two little dots because that is the kind of like mark of the artist who designed his costume. And Ochako's, fun fact for you if you didn't know, the 2 little dots that they have is kind of like little artist like signature. It's fine. And then there's the gloves that go all the way up here, except there's 2 pairs of gloves for my cosplay. There's the long pair, goes up here, has the orange little strap. And then there's the winter gloves that are underneath that also have the little armor on them to, you know, look more like padded and like stuff like that. When you take off the winter glove, it is the thin black glove that I'm wearing underneath, and I cut off the fingers so I can still use my phone while in Bakugo. And you have the gauntlets. Don't even get me freaking started on the gauntlets. You know, you got all those little things. You got to glue on each individual rectangle, and then you got to assemble it, and it's like a ball, but it's not a ball, and you gotta move on to the mask. And the mask, yeah, make sure like it doesn't you gotta make sure you look expressive with the mask, because you're not gonna have any eyebrows. You gotta figure out how to get around that. And then you gotta have the little flares. You gotta make sure not to make the wrong color. I still didn't fix it. I'm not gonna fix it, and there you go. And then you gotta have the hair. You gotta figure out what you're doing for the hair. Are you able to spike a wig? I'm not. Okay, so that's what we got. That's what we're working with. Okay. Oh, and then you got the neck piece. Can't forget the neck piece. Little like things here. I'm not sure if they even have the purpose, or if they do anything, or if they're just for show and he just wants to look cool. And yeah, there's your Bakugo cosplay. How long did that take? What was the question? What was your most ambitious cosplay project to date? Why was it difficult? How do I zoom on this? Oh, yep. Because Bakugo is difficult. It's in his nature. CR4NKIE, which I can only assume translates to cranky, asks, thrift or new? Like I said before, I do like to make my cosplays from thrifted materials. Although I do like buying cosplays sometimes, because those people most of the time are better sewers than me, and they have access to things, and they have more time than I do. And sometimes it's just nice to just have a fully made cosplay just arrive on your doorstep, and you're like, I don't have to put in any effort for this. Tanjiro? And our final question from Koopa Queen Gamer 13. They ask what to do about messed up sleep schedule because of quarantine. See, now is that like you stay up too late and then you sleep too late? Like, you're not getting enough sleep? Because so you should always aim for 8 hours of sleep. Listen to that. I know some people hear that and they're like, oh, okay. No, listen. It will make you healthier if you get 8 hours of sleep. I talk about this in my college and cosplays panel. We've come full circle. That literally, if you are feeling like sick and sluggish all the time, it literally might be because you keep relying on 5 to 6 hours of sleep, and you keep thinking that you can function on 6 to 5 hours of sleep. But like, imagine if you got 8 hours of sleep every night. Imagine how like refreshed you'd feel. Incredible, you know? Yeah. So do it. Try it. Set yourself a bedtime. You can do it. I believe in you. But if you've got a messed up sleep schedule, as if you're like falling asleep at like 3 a.m. and you're waking up at noon, honestly, I haven't been that different. I've been falling asleep around like 1:30 and I've been waking up at like 10:30. Yeah, I don't really have anything to recommend for that, because you're still getting the same amount of time that you're awake. You're just falling asleep at weird hours and waking up at weird hours. And as long as you're not missing any appointments, I don't really see a problem with that. Maybe that makes me a bad person. Well, I'm so glad that at the end of this video, you're leaving with the question, is Alison-Senpai a bad person? Let me know down below in the comments. Please don't, I'm sensitive. So that's it for all the questions. If you have a question that was not asked and you would like the answer to that question, my DMs are always open on Instagram, so please feel free to reach out to me. Before I go, wow, look, it's Jasmine and Michaela. Look at how great they look. That's incredible. Stand that. That's, yes, beautiful, perfect. We love, we appreciate. Oh, excellent. Double tap that on a Tuesday afternoon. Yep, double tap is in like using the like button. Don't be thinking like that. I love my friends. Thank you for watching.